On this episode of Just Informed Talk, the latest new Q posts talk about how President Trump is the most attacked by the fake news and QAnon is right there in second place, and much more from the newest posts. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. I always like to say thank you to everybody who's hit that subscribe button. If you haven't done it already, please come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you'll be notified when these videos get posted. Here we are. This is the latest new Q post. We're starting at 2491 today. And if you guys want to get caught up on the latest Q posts, I encourage you to go back to the landing page here and start watching all these videos. You can go back as far as you want, and they'll all have good information on what is going on and all the latest new information from Q. So, with that being said, today's video we're going to talk about these latest new Q posts and a couple other things, and then we're going to kind of wrap it up. So first of all, this is the latest Q post, as I said, 2491 since our last video, and it says number one attacked person by fake news plus swamp, Republican and Democrat, is President of the United States, President Trump. Number two attacked entity by fake news plus swamp, Republican and Democrat, is Q. As of 3:02 p.m. Eastern today, QAnon is now the number two most attacked entity behind POTUS within the U.S. Republican and Democrat coordinated blitz attack. Logical thinking. Why? Why would the biggest media companies in the world continue to attack this movement? 2 + 2 = 4. Congratulations, Anons. You are now the second biggest threat to the establishment. Badge of honor. Something big is about to drop. Q. All right, guys. So first of all, I can kind of definitely attest to the fact that nobody wants to talk about Q on the right or the left, Republicans or Democrats. And it's very interesting that Q is telling us right now that as of today at 3:02 p.m., QAnon is the number two most attacked entity behind the President of the United States. So I'm not exactly sure what is being referred to when it says as of 3:02 p.m. Eastern today. But it is telling us basically that Q is the number two most attacked entity behind POTUS within the United States. So I'm assuming that's based off of some kind of metric that crossed some sort of plateau or threshold at 3:02 p.m. If you guys have any insight into what that's referring to, please let me know down in the comments. But obviously what we're talking about here is the fact that QAnon is the number two most attacked by the fake news, according to Q here in this post. And the Republican and Democrat coordinated blitz attack, I've seen it in other things. For instance, as we've talked about, certain organizations, certain events, they don't want people to talk about Q. They don't even want it to be brought up because that in and of itself is a threat. And we're seeing this across the board. Even the mainstream media or fake news, whatever you want to call it, they won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. So it's basically giving you a good insight into why this is such an important movement, why the information we're covering is so valuable, and why they would do everything in their power to basically malign it, to demoralize the followers, to disband the followers, to get us to basically start infighting and not be able to consolidate this movement into something bigger, which is to say that we are using real information to bring real news and real truth to the public that the mainstream media won't cover. And that's really what the biggest problem has been with the fake news for so long, is that they not only do they cover news in a way that's biased and completely editorialized, but then they present it as real news, and then they tell you that there is no other truth besides their truth. And that's the problem, is that there's always more than one angle to a story. There's always more than one side to a story, yet they only want to give you the one side, their side, and you have to take that hook, line, and sinker, or else they'll basically start chucking metaphorical sticks of TNT into the lake until they just get all the fish. It's kind of a metaphor there. But anyway, this is what's happening. And this has a lot to do, I think, with what's going on with this whole Jim Acosta thing, right? So you have, first of all, this story coming out how the White House is being sued by CNN for removing Jim Acosta's press credentials after he basically got into an argument, or basically an altercation with the White House staffer when he refused to give up his mic and demanded to be given a podium to have a debate about how President Trump is a racist in the middle of a press conference, because he's Jim Acosta, he's CNN, He's with CNN. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to follow rules. They don't have to follow anything. He can just stand up there and have a debate with the president. And, it's so funny because everybody says this, and it's so true. The questions that Jim's always asking the president they're basically this. They're basically, aren't you a racist? Don't you agree that you're a racist? Like, that's literally the questions that he asks. Like, President Trump, don't you agree you're a racist? And what is President Trump supposed to say that? I mean, it's just asinine that these people are allowed to sit there and then they turn around and sue, saying that they've lost their that they were not given their freedom of the press and that they're were not given due process. That's literally what CNN's Jeff Zucker put out in a statement the other day or today, talking about how this is such a big issue for them, right? So that's what I think we're getting into. There's a few other things. Here's a really funny story I thought. So that not only is the CNN suing like John Kelly and President Trump and Sarah Sanders and the White House, they're suing the Secret Service agent who physically, like, literally took the press pass. But what I thought was hilarious, right, is you read through the story, it says, they're going to sue him just because they want to get the physical pass back, right? But it says right here, Jim Acosta tweets this video out. It's got 2.2 million views. It's of this Secret Service agent taking away his press credentials or his hard pass to get in the White House. And literally, listen to this. It says, the U.S. Secret Service just asked for my credentials to enter the White House. As I told the officer, I don't blame him. I know he's just doing his job. Sorry, this video is not right side up. I know, Jim. You're totally... No. We get it. You don't blame the Secret Service guy. You just sue him. Are you kidding me? He turns around and sues. They sue the Secret Service agent as well. I mean, this to me is just laughable. And this is just a great example of what is going on at this CNN organization and why President Trump has called them out for reporting fake news. And that is what I believe. I believe the President of the United States. If that makes me some sort of, crazy person because I believe the leader of our country, the President of the United States, then I don't know what to tell you people. I don't know what to tell anyone. Okay, because that's the level of crazy town we're in, where Jim Acosta is more credible than the President of the United States. That's the level of crazy that we're dealing with on the other side of the aisle, which is why we have to come together and say, look, we can't allow this to continue. But anyway, it's crazy. The circus is just beginning. As I said, now the Dems have the House back. We're going to see more and more of this kind of stuff. But thankfully, Jim Acosta has been removed, and the White House has vowed to basically fight that. And I thought that was cool. But there's a few things. I'm sorry, I went to the wrong one. So let's go back here. It says logical thinking. Why? Why would the biggest media companies in the world continue to attack this movement? Because the truth is coming out through this movement. They see that basically, like I've said before, this is a very simple, basically it's like a cost-benefit analysis here. Think about this. A guy with a computer and a microphone and access to the same information that these media sources go and get can report on the news, right? But that person's cost for doing what they do is nothing compared to CNN, who's invested millions into studios, into salaries, into staffers, into camera guys, into editing software, into mixing boards, into sound equipment, into lighting, into real estate. I mean, they have so much overhead that they're not in it for the news anymore. See, the news used to be about getting information to the people in an objective and unbiased way. But now the news has become this 24-hour megalithic corporation, which is basically profit-driven. And it's not just profit-driven. Those who own these outlets become gatekeepers of information. And when you take away their power to restrict the free flow of information, which is what Q does, right? That is when they freak out. And that's why Q has become, in my humble opinion, public enemy number 2 here from the fake news perspective, right? And this is what's going on. And Q says 2 + 2 = 4. It's easy to see, how this all adds up. This is not, hard to put together. And then it says, congratulations, Anons. You are the second biggest threat to the establishment. Yes, that's exactly what has happened. Or what has happened, because President Trump, with his Twitter account, is the number one person they have to go after, because his ability to circumvent them from his office of the presidency it makes him a threat to them, right? Because they want to have a control over the narrative, what information goes out. But then we come in at that second spot because we're doing the exact same thing the president's doing on his Twitter every day, and we're doing it on YouTube and all these other social platforms, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, and we're getting the information out there ourselves, and we're doing it organically without the help, and in some cases with active resistance to us being able to get our message out there. So that's what this is saying. And it says badge of honor. Something big is about to drop. So I don't know what's about to drop, guys. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot coming out of the DOJ, a lot with Matthew Whitaker, a lot with the declassification on the FISA, a lot with George Papadopoulos. Because remember, don't forget, Q hinted at George Papadopoulos right before the election at the fact that George Papadopoulos was pointing out that he was basically set up to be used as a pawn in this broader conspiracy to go and spy on President Trump, right? And that he was basically set up with this whole Veselnitskaya thing, and how with Donald Trump Jr. and the Trump Tower meeting, all of that stuff was orchestrated, people, and that's what's being told to us by Q. So I'm reporting that to you, right? Now, that's basically that post. The next one here talks about Arizona. And yes, this is actually an interesting story here. Arizona, where Kirsten, whatever her name is, Sinema, has beaten Martha McSally, I believe, for the Senate position. Now, Arizona is interesting in the way that it's broken down, but let's read what Q has to say before we look at this. It says, Arizona, Republican governor won by 328,000 votes. Democratic senator is winning by 32,000 votes. Republican governor won Maricopa County by 325,000 votes. Democratic senator winning Maricopa County by 32,000 votes. A 350,000 vote swing to Democratic Senator Q. Guys, this is exactly what I'm talking about here. So Q is telling us directly to look at the numbers, and the numbers make perfect sense. Look at this. So here's Kyrsten Sinema versus Martha McSally, right? And here's Maricopa County, where Phoenix is. And you can see the numbers for Maricopa County, if I can get this thing to stay there. Yeah, you can see the numbers there where Kyrsten Sinema basically is winning that race by a little bit. This huge swing, right? I think in the actual county itself, it looks like Kyrsten pulled in almost 50,000 more votes. And that is wow, especially when you go down here and you look at the governor's race, and then you look at Maricopa County, right? Well, let's see what happened here. So you're telling me, okay, now somebody please explain this one to me. Okay, you're telling me that the governor in Maricopa County, the Republican governor, okay, managed to pull off, let's see, this is what, almost 200,000 more votes, right, than his Democrat opponent. Yet in the Senate race, those same people who were voting decided to give Kyrsten Sinema, let's see, a 50,000 vote margin of victory. So that right there, in and of itself, just in Maricopa County, is a swing of about 150,000 votes between the governor, who is a Republican, and the actual senator's race for who's now Kyrsten Sinema is a Democrat. So this is what Q's talking about when he says voter irregularities. That is very, very odd that you would have this big split between people wanting a Republican governor and then turning around in the same county by almost 150,000 of those same people who went and voted for Doug Ducey as the Republican governor said, you know what, I don't want a Republican. I don't want Martha McSally. I want Kyrsten Sinema. And it's just like, okay, this is really weird. And then if you couple that with the fact that the guy who's in charge of vote recording in Arizona in this county is none other than, it says right here, a pro Bernie Sanders attorney, right, who actually was an attorney for one of the Fast and Furious gun buyers. This is not, I'm not making this up. This is right out of Breitbart, guys. There's nothing, I'm not like, this is not like fabricating anything. It says the Maricopa County vote recorder employing controversial vote counting practices was the defense attorney for an accused Mexican cartel gun straw purchaser. Now, this is the same guy who's purchasing guns that ended up coming from our own FBI and as a part of an investigation called Fast and Furious. And then those illegal guns were used to murder a Border Patrol agent. So that's just giving you a little background on Fast and Furious. But now it says the Maricopa County Maricopa County Recorder Adrian Fontes defended Manuel Solis Acosta in 2011 after an arrest for involvement in the Fast and Furious government gun running scandal. It says, quote, before he was elected in 2016 as Maricopa County Recorder, Adrian Fontes was an attorney representing clients in narco-terrorism and firearms scandals. It says Fox News reported Solis Acosta reportedly transferred thousands of guns to the Sinaloa cartel. This included the firearm used to kill Border Patrol agent Brian Terry. And then it says Democrat Fontes also spoke publicly at a November 2016 event featuring Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders supporting Hillary Clinton. Oh, who'd have thunk, right? Who'd have thunk this guy was a pro-Bernie, pro-Hillary, defender of gun runners. I mean, guys, this is just crazy. That's what the story is, though, out of Breitbart, and I thought I'd share that with you. And, if you look back at the numbers, it basically just something doesn't seem right here. Something's not settling. It's the fact that you see this huge shift and there's no demographic to explain it. There's no reasonable explanation other than there was just this big, 150,000 vote turnaround. And as Q points out here, the big turnaround was exactly this. So it goes from a governor winning by 300,000 votes to a Democratic senator winning from the opposite party by 32,000 votes. And then in the same county here, you had that big swing, right? So this is something to keep looking at. Hopefully we're going to keep investigating these voter irregularities and see if there's anything there, if there's any actual there, because the information itself is quite compelling to at least look at what happened there and examine it, if not for anything else, to understand how you could have such a divergence between voters where they vote Republican one way in huge numbers and then they vote Democrat in huge numbers. What's the reasoning behind that? What is the purpose, right? Reason. So there we go. That's kind of that one. And the next one says 53 to 47. So this reminds me of something. The last time we got this exact same post was back when Justice Kavanaugh was about to be confirmed. Q made this post, 53 to 47. And what we interpreted it as at the time was that it was going to be a 53 to 47 vote in favor of approving Justice Kavanaugh to become a Supreme Court justice out of the Senate, because it would be all the senators voting. And I don't think the vote came out to exactly. I think the vote came out to like 51-48 or something, 52-48. It was like somebody abstained and or somebody couldn't make it to vote, but it would have been 53-47 anyway. I think what this is referring to is possibly the outcome of this election. If you look at the broader Senate race, it's still with some undecided races, as we can still see that the Scott race is out in Florida, and then we have two independents that won in Vermont and Maine, which would be Angus King and Bernie Sanders. But what will the majority be in the Senate? I think it'll be 52 to 47. Or no, it's 51 to 47, but then that's with Rick Scott winning. So we'll have to wait and see, right? So this is where we're at, though. And actually, there's a special election. I forgot this one right here. The special election with in Mississippi, we're going to have, I think it's going to come back to 52 possibly, or 53, to 47. That may be end up what it comes out to, but I'm not sure how the numbers are working out here with the two independents, unless they're basically counting them as Democrats. Anyway, that's what that is, and all the information's here. If you guys want to go through it for yourself, I'll leave a link to this down in the description, because it's interesting stuff. If you want to go thumb through all that information. Now, let's see. The next, that's pretty much it, actually. Excuse me. So that's going to be it for that one there. And I want to say thank you all for joining me. A few more things if you want to stick around for just 1 minute. First of all, if you guys want to help out the channel, the best way to do is to come here, click the big red subscribe button. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the bell notifications. Second best way is to share these videos. Leave basically come here, watch them, share them on your social media, get the word out there. Also, leave your thoughts, theories, and insights down in the comments. I want to hear what you guys have to think about all this, because like I say, we try to have our own QAnon research board at the end of each one of these videos where we don't just go over the QAnon post, we go over politics, culture, religion, news, everything that's going on, everything the mainstream media won't cover, and everything else in between. So if you guys want to get involved with that conversation, even if you can't comment, I encourage you to scroll down and read through the comments. Now, another way you can support the channel is to come over here. You can find me on Twitter at Justin_formed on Twitter. And once you do that, you just come over here, you click the follow button, and you get all my cool tweets, you get all the access to the YouTube videos, all that stuff is there for you guys if you guys want to come check it out. Another thing you can check out is the Justin Formed News website. It's justinformednews.com. Usually just has a lot of links to videos that I posted and other content. If you guys want to get that, that's cool as well. Now, another way you can help out, they're both financial. The first way is to come over here to Patreon. That's patreon.com, and then you search Justin Formed Talk. Click this button to become a patron. Once you do that, basically it's a monthly donation. You can set it and forget it. Give as little as $1 a month or as much as you'd like to contribute to keeping this content being produced 24/7, 365. You guys are what fund it, especially in the face of all the stuff that goes down at YouTube. So you guys help make that possible, and I am truly thankful to each and every one of you. If you guys don't want to do the monthly donation, totally fine. That's why I made this GoFundMe page. It's gofundme.com/just-informed. Click the donate now to make a donation. It's a one-time donation, and you can make it anonymously if you want, and that helps out the channel too. Links will be in the description for those of you interested in doing that. Now, before we go, we have one more thing to talk about, which is the most important thing, and that's our section, God's Grace is Greater, segment we have at the end of each one of these videos, where we take a piece of scripture and we talk about God's incredible grace and how it is truly greater. And I hope these words help lift your heart. It's from Psalm 36, and it talks about God's love and human wickedness. But this is the part that matters to me, is focusing on God's love in the face of all of the wickedness that we see out in the world. So for that, I want to share this Psalm 36, verse 7 through 12. And it says, God, your faithful love is so valuable that people take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They are filled from the abundance of your house. You let them drink from your refreshing stream, for with you is life's fountain. In your light we will see light. Spread your faithful love over those who you know, or who know you, and your righteousness over the upright in heart. Do not let the foot of the arrogant come near me, or the hand of the wicked drive me away. There the evildoers fall. They have been thrown down and cannot rise. And that's it. I mean, it's simple, but it's true. Focusing on God's love and understanding that if you spread that love out into the world, then God recognizes when you're righteous in heart, when you embrace that righteousness, when you bring that into yourself. And when you do that, you become a conduit for change in others, so that they may be changed through the great grace of God that is this eternal salvation we've been given by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ through his sacrifice on the cross for our sins, and through God's sacrifice of his own one and only Son for us. So I just think we should remember that, and we should always remember that the evildoers will fall away, and that those who are righteous in heart will be risen up with God, and will be brought by God's side, and he will show us the power, the truth, and the light. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I want to say thank you all for watching this episode of Justin Formed Talk. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, now's a great time to do it. Come here, click the big red subscribe button. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching Justin Formed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.